Ruth and Lori Babcock started Titan Farm and Creamery several years ago. I don't know two harder working people on this planet. One day they were out in the field, it was cold, they were wet, they were exhausted, covered in manure and mud, and they had been moving animals and feed and fences. They were exhausted. And a car pulls up, and this very elegantly dressed woman walks up to them and says, after a while, "You two are living my dream." To which Lori said, "Honey, today you're living ours." We're very proud that Ruth and Lori have chosen Titan as home. Home is where we're from, but it's also where we're going. When you think of home, when you dream of home, do you dream of going back there or to some bright horizon? Everyone wonders about living their dreams, and yet that sounds so cliche. There's something not right about it. It's the word dreams. Dreams are passive. They conjure up images of kind of floating above it all, surveying some magical domain, and it's the antithesis of what living a real creative life actually entails. So what if we take creative ambitions and swap it for dreams and add up to? The phrase becomes living up to your creative ambitions. Now we're talking. That sets the bar higher, but it's a bar we can imagine. If you're really serious, consider turning your creative ambitions into a business. That's your reality check. Some of you can, and some of you will. And if you do, it will require fantastic amounts of time and work and luck and help from others. But if you pick your ambition wisely, you'll do it, and you won't regret it. It all starts with commitment. Commitment is romantic. To have faith that something is going to live up to an imagined future is compelling. It's one of the qualities that gives us hope and something to live to. The commitment comes in many forms, to relationships and families, to pets, to objects, belief systems, even to tattoos. But the commitment we'll explore here is to your bright ideas, your creative ambitions. If you follow TED Talks, there's a good chance you're curious and creative by nature. You might even be susceptible to sudden impulses that would place you somewhere on the spectrum. Sometimes it's just a matter of thinking of taking a class. Other times you start talking about it, your friends start to get tired of you talking about it, your mother starts sending you cautionary clippings. You're starting to really worry your friends. You're thinking of quitting your job. You quit your job, and the intervention goes sideways. You take the leap, and you're a goner. Now, of course, not all ideas follow that full spectrum, but do you ever get hijacked by your ideas? They're so strong, they're so powerful, they're palpable. You can imagine something so special. You know you can pull it off. They're so powerful, you know you cannot not attempt it. Your life wouldn't be complete if you didn't try. This is the creative ambition that gets me up every morning. Here's how some of these ideas play out. If it's pure artistic impulse, it's simple. You dive in, you figure it out. More complicated ideas require putting pieces together. Maybe you need others to help. You need to think like a designer. Next is taking a big step by creating a real business with real professional obligations. Finally, if the idea resonates, it might take on a life of its own as a positive community force. Of course, not all ideas are worth committing to. Or maybe it's brilliant, but you're just not the right one for the job. Or reality kicks in. In the morning light, it just doesn't look as alluring. There's nothing wrong with any of these decisions, but what if the idea sticks? What do you do with it? Where do you take it? Now look at your life as a progression of ideas that you've actually accomplished. It's a useful exercise. How did you make those ideas happen? That's your story. As a creative person, what's your next chapter? On the drive moving from Los Angeles to Seattle in the late 1970s, I was hit by one of these sudden inspirations. I decided to start a graphic design and photography studio for artists and galleries. I didn't have any business experience or money. I had some skills and talent, but I had endless energy and enthusiasm. Today, there are hundreds of books and blogs on entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what the word meant until I was in college. Thinking in those terms was out of character for that era. If I'd known more, perhaps I wouldn't have taken the leap. But my naivete pushed me onto a wonderful path. Based on a 2-page business plan, a bank lent me enough to start the business. The money didn't last long, and then I had to pay it back. How was I going to do that? That debt forced me into my work with heart, soul, and endless adrenaline. I had to make it work. Soon I started to become my studio. Day after day, week after week, year after year, I became the art book publishing company that is still central to my life. Commitment forced me to learn to extend myself, to seek out opportunities, to grow into my professional aspirations. We expanded. I hired a very talented staff. We survived bad decisions, economic downturns, changes in the art and publishing world. We have worked with over 200 museums and countless artists and curators and dealers and galleries. By most measures, we're successful. In some ways, maybe we are still paying off that first bank loan, though. Our efforts have been rewarded. When I step back, I'm astonished by the access and the creative opportunities this business has provided us. Being professionals makes us actual players. We aren't just passive observers. Gradually, the studio shifted away from physical design and production tools and techniques to a digital workflow. We gaze into our monitors most of the day, flipping virtual levers and switches. Our work has become more cerebral. We're in constant electronic contact with clients and vendors and colleagues all over the world. That's what work has become for many professionals. Place has become less relevant to doing our jobs. Creative ambition can be as insatiable as power. A hunger for the next what if feeds creative ambition. Confidence in surviving a design firm gave me the strength to take on a bigger, more vivid idea that has morphed into something beyond my control. Ironically, perhaps, this one has everything to do with place. In 2005, I rode my bike into Titan for the first time, hitting a bunch of goat head thorns, popping my tires, forcing me to spend enough time in the park, in the center of town, patching the tubes, to notice empty storefronts and warehouses. Clearly, as with many rural towns, Titan was struggling to hold on to its retail core and its identity. Its dilemma was existential. Compared to urban prices, these storefronts and warehouses looked like bargains. That summer, we invited friends to Titan, and collectively, we fantasized about what might be possible in these spaces. Our imaginations and creative juices went wild. Ultimately, we decided that Titan could become an incubator for artisan businesses, a place that connects urban creative ambitions with underused and unrecognized local resources. That's pretty much our model today. Here's a sketchbook from that time. Many, many ideas. Some of them have actually taken root and have turned into viable enterprise. Many of them are forms of light manufacturing, handmade, tactile, they involve craft. That first line says it all. High quality from simple materials. And why shouldn't these ideas be attractive? If work becomes pushing a mouse around, and if product arrives from thin air or in cartons from some distant country, what's not to like about things made under your own eyes, with your own hands? Some of these ideas are about direct human connection and real experience. They're local and authentic. This impulse is playing out throughout our country in the artisan and maker movements. There is an impulse for well-designed products and experiences. Titan could build on these impulses. Romantic, perhaps, but genuine. Most of these ideas were expressed as businesses. Most of us in the group own our own. We don't have deep pockets or trust funds. We think of ideas that could make commercial sense. Our imaginations are fueled by the content, but justified, rationalized perhaps, by potential enterprise. To make them sustainable, I see ideas, even romantic ones, through a business lens. Successful business demands focus. You must pay your bills and make payroll. You must show up, perform, and produce. You must go out, promote, and sell. It's real. This is not a hobby. What are some of these businesses? There are more, but the ones I'm most familiar with and that employ people from the community include Paper Hammer Studios, Mighty Titan Production, Titan Mosaic, Mighty Titan Events, Titan Cider Works, Mighty Titan Construction, Titan Farm and Creamery. I'm here to tell you that it takes most creative businesses thousands of uncompensated hours to get established and to become successful. It can take years for the numbers to make any real business sense. That's a big commitment. These were not companies conceived to make money for investors. And by Shark Tank standards, these enterprises would not impress. But by my measure, they're doing fine. They're gradually becoming profitable. They create jobs. We see our conceptual sketches turn into prototypes, turn into actual products for market. We now have access to respected professionals who become colleagues and friends. These are valuable rewards. It's working. And it's making our lives even more interesting. By extension, we're having an impact on the community. It's modest, to be sure. Impact is measured in employment, skills taught, connection, creativity, and fostering a sense of hope in our community. What do we want Titan to become? As a place, someplace attractive to smart creatives who can get their good ideas established, to become successful, and to add to the identity of our town and to the people who live and work there. As an idea, Titan can be inspirational. Perhaps we will encourage others to pursue their notions and to eventually become them. When you live up to your creative ambitions, the effects radiate to your community, to our culture, and to the world. You commit yourself to your ideas. You become your ideas. Your aspirations become our shared reality. That's how it works. So in the end, if you've picked the right creative ambition to live, and if you've played your cards wisely, you'll actually be living your dream. And one day, you'll stand up and you'll look out to that bright horizon, but this time you'll say, I'm home. Thank you.